Alright. So we got accidentally the wrong link. So we'll just make sure we have a better link. Let's see. Right. With you in a second, if there is anyone in here. Can you hear me? For anyone who's just waiting for the art, it will just be a minute. I'm just making sure that everything is functioning a-okay with the stream itself. And if you're here and you're joining, say hi. Okay. Let's just make sure we're all good. Taking a look at the other screen just in case anyone is here. Otherwise, if you're here, feel free to just write something, say hello. Whoa. Okay. There might be a lag. Notice that there is something very like the internet isn't the best around here, but we'll be capable of catching a glimpse soon enough. Okay, so let's begin. All right. Oh, hello there, Mr. Neumann or Newman. Alrighty. Very, very happy that you joined. So, let me just tell you and anyone who's joining in case we see the recording. What I'm doing right now is that I'm working on some of the new animals that I haven't implemented yet. We're gonna work on finalizing the shading to all the default skin animals. We're gonna have several skins. You can choose, like, we have a default, we have dino skin, so we have all these lovely units in with a bit of prehistoric features. We're going to have polar and swamp and Australian outback and what have you. But right now, we're still finishing the default set, so since we're just in the beginning. So what we're going to do today is kind of simple. We're going to shade these guys, so these new guys, the lion, the llama, the sheep. so they look a lot more similar to the next three. And that's about it. So every once in a while I'll try to blurb something. But feel free to ask questions and Q&A away. And if I stay quiet for a bit, it's because I'm focused. Don't worry, we'll take a look at the comments and I'll be more than happy to reply. So yeah, let's get started. I will start with just telling you what I'm gonna do and how I shade things. Because what I do with this is that I took a very, very simple approach to make the entire process kind of simple for me. What I do is I make very, very simple outlines. They're clean, but they're not the best, and they don't need to be. And then, after I choose these basic colors, then what I do is I just take these colors on the side, these, and I use them with 2 layers on multiply and screen. I'll show you in a minute on the line. Yeah, you feel free to troll away, Mr. Neumann. Okay. Hope it's not too weird for you that I'm speaking English constantly. I just want to try to be international and planetary, if you will. Derp. So yeah. So I choose these colors, and then I use a very, very rough brush to create these basic shadings. And then I use a very a bit softer to create this sort of a gradient feel. And with that out of the way, let's start with the lion in Zion. Dun da da. Okay. No problem. You will have narwhals. Noted. Later on, we have in the polar section, we're gonna have some. Let's see. I'm gonna have some skins. Oh, thank you. All right. So first thing is first. I'm gonna say something kind of funny, but it's important. One of the things that I do here, I noticed that there is something when creating these concepts that is important to keep like homogeneous, I think is the best word. Meaning that like I unify all the lines and then I unify all the colors in a way. The Jedi of the Sea. They stop Cthulhu eating ye. I love that one. Okay. So, let's do like this. And later on, now all the lines and all the colors are unanimous and they're like on a single layer. And the reason for that is actually kind of, because it's kind of simple. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, this one we don't need it yet. What it does is that it really helps later on to keep this homogeneous feeling of the shading and the coloring. It's like everything feels like a single drawing. And when I take it out to and separate the parts to animation, then it's very easy to keep this drawing feel. So you'll see what I mean in a moment. Maybe a bit too much blabber. Okay, let's do a bit of a cleanup. That was a classic. all the... What was the channel's name, Iran? Dibble, dribble, don't remember. The egg-shaped guy, I think. Don't remember his name. So the lines we can actually make into a single layer. It's a bit destructive, so just in case, let's save another file. Always a good habit. Which brown thing? Do you mean this guy? The one in the left? Actually, that is supposed to be a bear, but a very, very silly and somewhat Russian bear, dare I say. But at least in my head. But I might need to make it more bear-like because I got several notes that it looks much more like a hamster than a bear. But in my silly head, it works. So yeah, that's what it's supposed to be. Okay. Now all the lines. Which one? This? Because I said a bear. If we were talking on the same thing. I'm just doing a bit of a cleanup. Something small, but it like something that's bothering my eye to see all these rough edges. Alright. And overall, it's okay. It's not too bad. By the way, the brush that I use for most of my rough shading, and including the line work actually, is the pencil brush. Something from Kyle's Tools, which is a really, really, really good set. The Ultimate 2B pencil. It gives this very, very textured feeling, and I personally really like it. Okay, now we're off to the fun part. So, I'm going to take this color. I'm going to see how it works as a shading. Generally, I really like to do the lighting from, oh, wrong layer, my bad. I really like to do the lighting from the top left or the top right every time. The top and the front, let's say. So in this case, it's the top and the left. You'll see that it's like this in here, it's like this in here, and in here. But it's a very, very, very simplified type of light because the animals will rotate, so I don't want to emphasize it too much. If I were you, I would have totally leave it like that. Being like a Cheburashka. There is actually a very high possibility that I'll make a skin of a Cheburashka as well. Like I've had this thought for quite a while to use these little pop culture icons as skins. Okay, that's a bit too dark, so let's lighten it up. Okay, bit better, but still too dark. I think what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just lower the opacity a bit. Just a bit. Yes, much better. 70% opacity, multiply, and now we're going to do some basic shading. You'll see that I'm working in a very, very manual way. First, because it's fun, but also because it produces this painterly feeling, like I said. And a lot of the time I find these little mistakes as well. Like many of my drawings start like this with tons of technical errors, but that's fine. I've gotten used to it. It's kind of part of the process at this point. Right. Now, do like this. Sometimes I use selections as well. Like for example, if I want to paint only on the fur, I do this, and now no matter what I draw, it's on the fur, which is actually something I will do a tiny bit right now, but I don't use it all the time because it can also create this feeling of something that is not unanimous / homogeneous. Okay, in this case, there is a place to use it. You can hear the face is completely shadowing the fur. And this. Nope, this doesn't work. Okay. See, with something very, very simple, it's very easy to feel like you have this little bit of shading. You really don't need to make it complicated. So how are you feeling today, Mr. Tiny? And if there is anyone else out there, by the way, free to say hello. Once again, healthy reminder. Okay. So let's do like this. So, see, just a minute. Right back. All right. Oh, hello there, lovely lady. Glad you could make it. And let's continue. I've been talking earlier about a bit of the process. You can see how it continues. If at any given point, by the way, you or anyone else who joins have a little bit of Q&A, more than welcome to ask. Okay. This is in the back, it will be a bit darker. What's going on in the front? So how are you doing tonight? something like this. Trying to figure out a spot which makes sense that not only is there no light, but also where the main covers everything. Good. Happy to hear. Let's see. Here's a question, because it's something that's been on my mind a lot in the past few days. Did you get your hands around Devil May Cry 5? A bit, yeah, but I really wanted to give his legs a different color. And it's okay. Worst case, if I start implementing it and I see it doesn't work, then I'll change it to a lighter color. We'll make it a bit clearer. But as it is right now, it works fine. So it's okay. I wonder if this works. Bit of trial and error here. So this on the eyes. Look at that. Alpha look. Line. Yeah. Okay. Here, yes. Absolutely. Now, I want to take a bit of a look on the others, because I didn't do this for quite a while actually. Like the entire shading without this style of shading. So, take a look just to see what I kept in mind. It's kind of funny that a lot of time when you work on stuff, it's easy to actually lose track of your own style. When there's like times that you're like, how did it go? What did I do here? And you need to like deconstruct yourself. Sometimes it happens. Let's give it a bit of texture. Use the shading to give it a bit more hair-like feeling. No, you know what? Not in all places. It's actually kind of redundant. You know what? It's fine for now. Okay. Let's see. Now, how we do the light. So I added a new layer. Here we have the multiply layer. It's all these little shadings. Now, do a new layer. This one is going to be on screen. Now, let's do this also on a bit of a lower opacity. And it's a light color. Let's see how this one goes. Bit of a test. Yeah, it's good. Nothing good. Oh, when you have the two colors that are colliding with each other, it gives a really nice feel. Very quickly. It's like very, very simple, but it works fine for this game's purpose. Here it looks a bit like the color of Wii. I don't like it. So I'm going to take this specific area. Let's see if I can change, change the hue a bit to a bit of a redder color. It looks much more coherent. Here, we'll keep this bit. Let it like go the beginning of the back. Every segment that I separated specifically in the line, I take and do a bit of a stroke of light. So that way it's a bit more feeling of volume, let's say. I do wonder what to do in here. Here I will give you something small, because in here technically less light reaches. It doesn't make a lot of sense. There will be tons of light. Now let's do a bit on the legs, just a bit, because again, not a lot of light, but it does help get this feeling. I do want to check something actually. See, it's funny, it's very, very rough, but it works very good as a point of reference for like how far should I go, so to speak, in terms of where the light goes. Because the lighting on all the animals is supposedly the same light. On the back it has small. Alright. I hope the stream is working fine, by the way. I'm not used to this. But I'm learning. Okay. Now, simple as this may be, this is the basic light setup. I can add a thing here and there, but it's actually really not crucial. Simple as it may be, this is like enough. So what I'm going to do next, except this part bugged me a bit. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to make this little finishing touch. The finishing touch is creating this gradient, which is actually kind of important, because it also allows me to make the shading in a bit of a different way. You know what, I will do something beforehand. I'm going to take a bit of a different brush and use it to give all these shadings a bit more texture. I noticed that it's a bit too smooth, so to speak. It's a bit too much, too cartoony. So what I'm going to do is going to take a really big brush, relatively. Look at these rough smears. It gives more of a texturally feeling. It's like gum. It's less clean. Really good for our purposes. Put this in here. Here we're going to take a big brush. But you see, I started to use this thing. It's already getting a bit more textured and like feels a bit better, a bit more illustrated. It's kind of funny how not accurate you can be when you're working with the style. It's like you need to maintain the same rules, but your rules doesn't have to revolve around accuracy, I would say. Already when I took a look at this thumbnail, it looks okay. Looks fine. It's very, very simple, but it looks fine. It's starting to look a bit more similar to the other animals. I wonder if I should do the same for the light. I'm not sure. The light is actually okay if it's a bit cleaner, because it's supposed to be very, very you're supposed to see it. Source of light. Okay. Just in case, because I like the colors that I'm using right now, I'm gonna make sure the shading palette matches. Here we go. Good. Now, last thing I'm gonna do on this little line here is that I'm going to use, I think, the overlay. And now I'm going to use these really big strokes of color, but they are going to be on a very weak opacity. So see, if I do this, it looks really stupid. It looks like I took it straight out of an 80s cartoon about, I don't know, Care Bears or whatever. But if I lower the opacity to this, let's say this, I can start using it much better. So let's delete this. Now I'm going to do like this. The lighting color is going to be the dark color. I can make even darker. Oof. By the way, if there are lags in the streaming, then sorry. Internet isn't always the best. Let's try to make the most out of it. So let's continue. Here, I'm going to use a really dark color for all the dogs. And now check what happens. He looks a bit more in the wild, a bit more, because now it's like he has light, dark, come from top and bottom. Now he's closer to the rest of the bunch. Okay. So, by the way, do you have any questions at a given point? Love to hear them. Do wonder to take a look at him, trying to assess some of this. Okay, not crucial. A lot of the time, worst case, I do improvements later on. Let's move on to the rats. That should be fun. They should be a bit easier. After I finish the rats, I'm going to try to take the lion and I'm going to separate him to animation. I'm going to start separating him to animations, and then you'll see the weird ass process that I do, at least the beginning of it. Okay. So let's start with giving them proper line colors, because I see that I actually didn't do this, and a bit of cleanup. You, big. This. Right. Good enough. Clean up. Very, very simple. Works. Add this. Call it a dark color here. No. Yeah. This is going to be shadow color. Okay. Let's start with the proper line color. I'm going to take the base color. I'm going to do this really, really darker version of it. Just going to go all over, except in specific places where I feel it's not appropriate. Like in the tail. And a bit of a pinker color. Magenta. Okay. What's this? Ooh. Gets a bit. Blends a bit into the background. Unintentionally. Never mind. Okay. Here I'm going to take the same color. Look at this. Nah, it's okay. I'm going to mix them all up anyway in a moment. Actually, just noticed something small that bugs me. This is supposed to be like a bandage. This looks supposed to be an injured rat. So I'm going to do something, a bit of a different color for this. You know what? No. Solve it. We'll solve it later on. It's not crucial. Something we can fix in a later batch. Okay. Here. Let's do this. Darker. And darker. Right. Bit of clean. And alright. Start the shading process. So once again, I'm going to take this, put it on 70% opacity, and we continue. This time it's much simpler than mine actually. It's just like, okay, this brush works better for shading. Just noticed. That's part of the reason that I wasn't so happy with the line, because I started with a much cleaner brush. Now that I use this bit rougher on the edges brush, something that I kind of like about it. Yeah, okay. This feels a bit better in general. I feel like I can get a bit more loose. Does that work? Like I said, in this case, is good. So, okay. Right. Okay. Simple, but good. Let's try and give it a bit of white. These rats go much smoother than the lion, but once again, it can be because I'm a bit rusty in doing these guys. Working on a game has much more to do than just drawing. So it's kind of funny how it was actually quite a bit of a while since I shaded some of the characters. No, let's drop this for now. Okay. Keeping it still very loose. Easier to get the flow. Focus. Keep forgetting that I chose not to do this on the eyes. At least. No. I'm considering something doing a bit different on the earring because it's metal. Too much. Save it for later. Okay. Let's add a bit of an overlay. We did. The line. Da, 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 da. Instantly, they look a bit more like part of something. What? A bit and a bit is enough. Meantime. Okay. Kind of like them. Cute. Alright. So what I'm going to do next, I want to do a bit of fix with the line. And I think, because the streams are not very long, I want to make sure that you guys have something specific to see the process of from relatively as much as beginning to end as possible. Then I'll save the entire creation for animation part for the next time. Let's continue this for a few more minutes and we'll continue. Continue next time. So let's go back to the line here. Do some adjustments. I'm going to do a bit more of a shading here. You from here. It's funny, but I actually really like the roughness. Come out of working with this style. Yeah, I think this is actually something important that I was missing. Giving a bit more of a shading around the nose. A bit more actual, I don't like definition. So still very, very cartoony and simplified definition of a nose. But, you know, I'm sure that the nose is the right term, like a muzzle. Yeah, this is better. Let's just wrap up a few small things. Give it a bit more of a roughness. You work like this and also show seams, like it has a bit more of a texture overall. Feels almost like fur. Do it like this. Almost. Okay, it's interesting. It's fun looking back at how these initial decisions affected the style. It's like the line is very, very thick in some places. Just a minute. A bit of a cleanup. Maybe clean. Okay. Okay. Not bad. Something small and something nice. A bit of a shading from the line. A bit of a shading from the reds. So next I'm going to continue with the llama and the sheep. Next time that we meet, I'll try to do some animation preparation because I wanted to make sure that I have all the default animals ready and rigged in Spine 2D. I'll show you in general how I work. And once again, it's a very, very simple process, but it's efficient. So yeah, I think I'm gonna finish. and I'll see you guys soon. Thank you very much, anyone who came, joined, saw, commented, and I more than welcome you and anyone else who decides to join during the week. And next week I'll announce the next dates, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.